Hello guys, and welcome back to I Never Knew That. So if you watched last week's video, you will know that today we are going to be talking about the Lockheed U-2 spy plane. So the U-2 was developed to be a high altitude reconnaissance aircraft. It first flew in 1955 and is still in use today. The aircraft is capable of flying over 70,000 feet, but the exact maximum altitude is classified by the Air Force. It has been used in many different wars and conflicts by many different nations. It was used in the Cold War and in Afghanistan and Iraq, and has also been used in different NATO conflicts. The U-2 is also one of the few aircraft to have been used by the United States Air Force for more than 50 years. To keep the aircraft capable and up to date with modern technologies, it received an update in 2012, which was named the U-2S. The U-2 has only been shot down twice. Once in 1960 when Francis Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union, and once in 1962 when Major Rudolph Anderson was shot down during the Cuban Missile Crisis. What has allowed the U-2s to have such an extremely low amount of shoot downs is how high the aircraft flies. So it was extremely hard for early Soviet radar to lock onto the plane. It was impossible for other aircraft to intercept it, and the early missiles could not fly that high. So today we're going to be talking about the 1960 shoot-down of Francis Gary Powers. While at first this might seem like just another military aircraft getting shot down, like often happens in wartime, it actually turned into a very large political conflict between the Soviet Union and the United States, and also caused a lot of embarrassment to the American government, the CIA, NASA, and the Air Force. So Gary Powers took off from the airport on May 1st of 1960 to overfly the Soviet Union and to take photos with the extremely high-powered camera that was on board the aircraft. He took many successful photos, and the last target he overflew was a Soviet plutonium production facility. A MiG-19 was sent to intercept him, but was unable to catch up with him due to his high altitude. At the same time that the MiG had been sent to intercept the aircraft, the radar from a Soviet surface-to-air missile base locked onto the plane, and a surface-to-air missile was fired at Gary Powers. The missile actually struck the MiG-19 and exploded, and it did not hit the U-2, but the shockwave from the explosion damaged the very long wings on the U-2 and they came off. After the wings were ripped off his airplane, Gary Powers attempted to bail out, and he was partially successful, but he forgot to disconnect his oxygen hose, and he struggled with that until it broke. Once his oxygen hose broke, he was able to safely parachute down to Russian ground and was captured quickly after. 4 days after the shoot down, NASA attempted to cover it up by saying that an aircraft had gone missing north of Turkey. The article that was released to press said that a pilot might have fallen unconscious while the aircraft was on autopilot, and that he had radioed in saying that he was having trouble with his oxygen system, and that once the aircraft ran out of fuel, it crashed. To further add to the validity of this, a U-2 was quickly painted in NASA liveries, and photos were taken of it and shown to the press, and the Air Force also required a mandatory examination of all U-2 oxygen systems, although no actual problems existed with them. Nikita Khrushchev, a Russian politician who ended up leading Russia through the Cold War, decided to attempt to catch the Americans in the cover-up story that they had made for the U-2 shoot-down. Khrushchev released a story to the press saying that an aircraft had crashed in Russia and it appeared to be a U-2 spy plane. The CIA and NASA then said that this was probably the airplane that they had lost, and that it had just continued flying on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed in Russia. Well then, on May 7th, Nikita Khrushchev decided to finish up embarrassing the American government, and he announced to the press that when he released his first story, he intentionally did not say that the pilot was alive and was doing fine. Here's an excerpt from his speech. Quote, "I must tell you a secret. When I made my first report, I deliberately did not say that the pilot was alive and well. And now just look at how many silly things the Americans have said." End quote. Khrushchev then released photos of the crashed U-2 and the wreckage of it, further embarrassing the CIA, NASA, the Air Force, and the Eisenhower administration. Gary Powers was put in prison in Russia for espionage and sentenced to 7 years of hard labor. However, he made it out after 1 year and 9 months of that sentence, due to an exchange of prisoners. He later became a news reporter and ended up dying in a helicopter crash. Once the US saw that the Soviet missiles and radar were capable of taking out the U-2 spy plane, they began changing their tactic from high-altitude, low-speed aircraft to high-speed, low-altitude aircraft, and this began an entirely new type of aircraft being built. And also, to prevent further fatality of pilots, unmanned drones started being built, including the first drone, the D-21. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and you know at the end of I Never Knew That, we draw a topic for next week, so let's see what our new topic is. And our new topic is on dark matter and dark energy. Alright guys, I'm very excited to study this, and I'll make a video about it next week, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.